What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global here, back with another video, and in this one, we are going to be talking about another winners and losers video. You guys love this series, and so we are going right back to it. This time it's going to be for week 2 against the Jets. Like always, we're going to start here with the winners. In no specific order, my first winner is going to be James White, and I do believe I had James White on my winners list last week also against the Dolphins, but yet again, James White continues to look better and better, especially compared from what we saw in the 2020 season. It really looks like James White took the offseason to bounce back and be the old James White that all us real New England Patriots fans remember over the last several years with Tom Brady under center. Now, I was definitely higher on James White in the season opener than other people were, and I think week 2 he performed even better. He actually led the team in receiving yards with 6 receptions for 45 yards and added 20 yards and a touchdown on the ground. He also led the Patriots running backs in reps and was actually the New England Patriots' #1 running back this week. After Damian Harris was the #1 running back in week 1, it looks like that fumble made the team a little hesitant to make him the #1 guy, and James White really took over as that #1 guy in week 2 against the Jets. Now, we never really saw that connection of James White and Cam Newton, not in camp, and really any point since Cam Newton was with the New England Patriots, but right away in week 1, it looked like that connection that Tom Brady and James White had. It looks like the connection between Mac and James White is a connection that is really going to go a long way. Whether that is a simple check down, a simple dump off to James White, whether it's screen passes, or whether it's genuinely getting James White involved as a downfield threat in the passing game, just in week 2, we have seen James White in every phase of the game looking like the old James White. Now, my next winner on this list is going to be Patriots starting cornerback J.C. Jackson, who, if you watch this game, you would know had a terrific game. Happy to have him on my winners list this week after I had him as a loser on my list last week against the Dolphins. He had a very, very solid week here going up against Corey Davis, who several times in the past with the Titans has shown to be an issue for the Patriots. Now, if you guys watch this game versus the Jets, you would know that the Patriots offense struggled big time, and really the big reason they won this game was because of those 4 interceptions, and J.C. Jackson had 2 first-half interceptions that really kept the Patriots out in front, preventing the Jets from putting any type of points up on the board, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal, and because of that, was really giving the offense extra opportunities to capitalize with the issues that they were having. Now, interesting fact here, that second interception of the game against the Jets actually gave J.C. Jackson his 19th interception since entering the league, and that is tied for most of any NFL player during that time, even with Miami's Xavier Howard. So he's tied with Xavier Howard since entering the league in interceptions. Now, statistically here, you would like to see maybe a little bit better from J.C. Jackson going forward, as he is going to have tougher opponents going forward, but he was targeted 5 times, allowed 3 receptions for 41 yards, 2 interceptions, and quarterbacks had a passer rating of 46.7 when targeting J.C. Jackson. Now, my next winner on this list is going to be Josh Uche, who I think had quietly a very good game. You don't hear a lot of people talking about him. That's probably for his run defense. Not so great, but the statistics he put up pressure-wise were outstanding. Through 2 weeks so far in the NFL against the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets, Josh Uche has recorded 3 total sacks already. In this game, he recorded 2 sacks, a quarterback hit, 3 pressures, 2 stops, and 1 missed tackle. Now, again, I would say probably the big issue why I didn't see a lot of people talking about him was that run defense. He had a run defense grade of 29.1. That is not good at all, considering, look, you're going up against the Jets with a terrible offensive line. They don't have good running backs, so that aspect of Josh Uche's game does need to be better. He did record all of these advanced statistics by just playing only 48% of Patriots defensive snaps in this game. And I do believe that if Uche is able to extend his ability at stopping the run and being a dominant force, whether they have him setting the edge or being a stand-up linebacker, then I think he's going to get more snaps. And just imagine if Josh Uche can play 60-70% of these Patriots defensive snaps, what those statistics could potentially look like. But I think it's kind of a situation like it was with Chase Winovich, where you're not going to get as much snaps because of your issues at stopping the run. And my last winner on this list is actually going to be Ja'Whaun Bentley. I think a lot of people are not understanding the value that Ja'Whaun Bentley is bringing to this Patriots defense. He has sneakily been one of the best defenders on this Patriots team so far. I mean, with Dont'a Hightower coming back, a lot of people were expecting that Ja'Whaun Bentley was kind of going to get pushed down. New England has an upgraded linebacker core with Hightower back, Van Noy back in the mix also. You add Matt Judon, Josh Uche is going to be in the mix at linebacker at times also. And last time this happened, Ja'Whaun Bentley got pushed down. But actually the opposite has happened, and Ja'Whaun Bentley is a starting piece for this team constantly, even over guys like Dont'a Hightower. Ja'Whaun Bentley actually led the team, or led the linebackers rather, in defensive snaps with a total of 63 defensive snaps, which took place for 92% of the Pats' defensive snaps. And then Dont'a Hightower had 83% with 57, and Harvey Longy had 10% with a total of 7. Now, I don't think this is a situation where if you didn't have Dont'a Hightower, you didn't have Kyle Van Noy, that Ja'Whaun Bentley would be performing as well. I think because of what's around him, you're able to put Ja'Whaun Bentley in a better place, in a better role, and he is flourishing because of where he can play now, because other spots on the defense are now being taken care of by these other guys, and Ja'Whaun Bentley is just playing at a higher level because of it. Against the Jets, Ja'Whaun Bentley led the Pats with 9 tackles and came up with a big third down goal stuff on the Patriots' 2-yard line early on in the game. I think Bentley's actually looked better in coverage this year, and despite all the issues that the Patriots are having with the first point of attack, the interior of that defensive line at stopping the run, Ja'Whaun Bentley at middle linebacker has been a key piece to stopping the run. Now, moving on to the losers of this game, I think that there's a lot of guys you could put on this losers list. I don't think Mac Jones did enough to be a loser, but I also don't think he did enough to be a winner. I don't think these Patriots receivers played great in this game whatsoever, but I'm not going to put them on a loser on this list also, but I wouldn't argue with you if you're someone who did put them on here. My first real loser here, though, is going to be offensive lineman Yasir Durant, someone who I expected a lot more from after a pretty good showing week 1 after Trent Brown went down against the Miami Dolphins. Yasir Durant was getting the nod over Justin Herron last week, who just looked terrible. But Yasir Durant this week, after getting the starting look, was replaced by Justin Herron because Yasir Durant was looking awful. Durant allowed 2 sacks in this game before halftime and was later on benched for Justin Herron, who ended up getting injured in the game, so Yasir Durant had to come back to be the starting right tackle. Interestingly enough, believe it or not, Yasir Durant and Justin Herron played the exact same amount. Both played 52% of offensive snaps with exactly 30. Now, with that being said, they both played the exact amount. How did they both pin up against the Jets defense? Well, Yasir Durant, like I mentioned, allowed 2 sacks, 2 pressures, and had a 62.1 run blocking grade. As for Justin Herron, he allowed just 1 pressure, 1 hurry, and had a 66.5 run blocking grade. So it's quite clear that Justin Herron was the better tackle in this week's matchup versus Yasir Durant, who was better in week 1's matchup. Really just looked like a revolving door, was really the big reason that Mac Jones constantly looked under pressure. He hasn't made Shaq Mason look all that great either. Shaq's really trying to help compensate for the issues that are happening at right tackle. And with the revolving door that Yasir Durant has been for the team, you just pray to God that Trent Brown can get back and stay healthy. Now, my next loser on this list isn't actually going to be a player. And I usually like to keep it to players, but we have to talk about the Patriots' run defense, which was a huge, huge loser in this game. It was a loser against Miami, who, I was expecting better play from the Patriots' run defense, but you know what? It was week 1. There's stuff to figure out. They do have decent running backs there. Nothing great, but pretty decent. I was expecting by week 2, going up against the Jets with no legit running backs, a terrible offensive line, that this would be a much better showing, and unfortunately, it was the exact opposite. Now, in 2020, the Patriots were one of the worst teams against the run. It's actually a big reason on why, they were constantly getting beat in several of those games because opposing offenses were able to control the clock. They were able to control the game because they could run the ball successfully against the Pats. At the end of the day, the team that can run the ball more successful is likely going to win the game. You think that with the additions of Devon Godchow, Christian Barmore, Henry Anderson, Dante Hightower, even bringing back Lawrence Guy, that this would be much more vamped, but what we have seen so far through 2 weeks has not been an improvement at all. And it comes down really to consistency, because you'll see plays where they're making tackles behind the line of scrimmage in the run game, but then they'll go up and they'll allow more than 4 yards per carry to these running backs in each of these games. The Jets totaled 151 rushing yards against the Patriots on only 32 carries and averaged 4.7 yards per average. They almost averaged 5 yards a carry. That is half a first down. Again, if Zach Wilson does not throw 4 interceptions, I believe that this game could have went the other way. How do you expect to win a game when your defense is allowing 4.7 yards as an average and 4.5 yards per carry? And I talked about this in my live stream today. What I've noticed with the terrible run defense so far is that you're asking your linebackers and then your secondary to make these tackles, as where with the revamped defensive line that the Patriots have this offseason, or made this offseason with all the money they put into it this offseason, you'd expect the point of attack that is the interior of the defensive line, because the issue is really coming from runs through up the middle. So guys like Devon Godchow, Christian Barmore, Lawrence Guy, you're expecting to step up, and none of those guys have done so. I would say that Christian Barmore has been the best of those guys, but guys you'd expect, these veterans like Lawrence Guy and Devon Godchow, have really not stepped up as of yet. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I just did, and this is going to be my last loser here. It's going to be the Patriots red zone offense. This has not looked good so far through 2 weeks. I think there's been multiple chances where this offense could have put 7 points into the end zone just in the passing game alone. And I think part of that does come down to offensive play calling. I think the big issue is that, once we reach the red zone, we're constantly seeing this team go to the run game, or we're seeing them go to screens. It's going run, screen, run, and they're just not getting there. Mac Jones was one of the best quarterbacks in college football last year once he reached the red zone. Let's see him in the 20, 15-yard line throw some passes into the red zone, even if it's just one opportunity. One opportunity on a drive. Let's see him at least try. You have the pieces that you went out and grabbed in free agency. Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, your 2 tight ends who are elite, 2 top 10 tight ends who are elite in the red zone, and Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Let's see some potential targets to them in the red zone instead of always trying to rely on running the ball in. You don't have Cam Newton at quarterback. That does not need to be the case. Now, for all of New England's scoring drives that put up 25 points against the Jets, this is how it went. Field goal. Touchdown. Then it went field goal again. Then it went touchdown. Then it went field goal. Then it went field goal. These are multiple opportunities that the team is reaching the end zone, or not the end zone, but the red zone, that they could be capitalizing on 7 points. But instead, we're going on 3. And the thing is that we are just playing the Jets. When you have to play Tom Brady, you have to play Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott. You need to be putting 6, 7 points up. You cannot be relying on Nick Folk to put 3 points up on the board, especially when you drive the ball down the field successfully, but you only come out with 3 points. But that is going to be my winners and losers list for this week's matchup, the win against the New York Jets. Before we end this video off, I do want to talk about the sponsors of this video, BetOnline.ag, guys. BetOnline is back and better than ever, and all eyes are on the gridiron teams as they are back to start another football season. As always, BetOnline is your #1 spot for all pro and college football action this season. With a new updated site and interface and even more odds and props and contests, BetOnline continues to be the #1 source for everything football. All you guys got to do is head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 100% off welcome bonus. Guys, that is double your initial deposit just for signing up. And don't forget to use that promo code NFL100. That is NFL100. All the way from football to basketball to boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Do not wait to take advantage of all of the amazing offers still available for the 2021 season. Guys, this is BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts, and BetOnline, the fastest and the easiest ways to bet on all of your sports action. But guys, it would really mean a lot to me if you made sure to hit that like button, comment all of your thoughts in the comment section below, and just subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification if you haven't already. The more you guys interact with the videos, the better that it helps these videos do. YouTube recommends it more, so you guys help me out a ton, and you help the channel out a ton just by interacting. But like always, I do appreciate you guys for watching this video, and like always, go Pats.